So we finished off talking about my actual breakdown, which was the start of everything, but now I'm going to explain to you kind of what it was the start of. I didn't know it at the time. I knew when I got home from work on that late evening and my wife was still up, that I couldn't physically talk to her. And I was trying so hard, and a word couldn't come out. And that was going to be a feeling that was going to be repeated for a very long time in my life. And it's still repeated today. And it's a feeling that I want to get over. I woke up the following morning feeling like I was walking underwater. I felt like the voices I was hearing from people talking to me were far away. I felt like my own voice was far away, and I felt like I was looking at the world through a lens that darkened and dulled everything. I had my first panic attack on that following morning. I believe it was September 1st. I woke up and I didn't quite know what was going on, but I felt butterflies in my stomach, and then I felt what would become to me just a dreadful precursor of these attacks. I felt a sort of a springy, jumpy feeling in my calves, like I wanted to run away. I guess you'd call that a flight or fight response. Except there was nothing to fight, and there was nowhere to fly to, because what I was trying to run away from was feelings that were going on inside of my own head. My wife forced me to go to the doctor that day, and at the time I knew that it was probably a good idea. I went to my family doctor, and at the time my blood pressure registered, I believe it was 189 over 130. My heart rate was about 130 beats per minute. Depression had taken very severe physical effects on my body and was really ravaging me and ravaging my ability to do anything. I found that I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk quickly. My mind was racing at a mile a minute. I felt like I was going to die. I felt like I was going to be sick. I felt like I was going to just do something horrible. And I didn't know why, and I couldn't get rid of the feelings. Now, the panic attacks for me, that first day, what I didn't know is that they would be a recurring partner in my life for more than a year. And if I look to how I ended up wanting to come down here and say goodbye, one of the main factors is the constant anxiety, the constant fear, every single day. Now, depression is not just a blank sheet that you run along. It's not a straightforward path. You have up days and you have down days. Unfortunately, when you're suffering from major depression, sometimes your up days are ridiculous. Sometimes you're a complete idiot. Sometimes you're so hyper you can't control yourself. There was a long period of time last year where psychiatrists that I was dealing with thought that I may have bipolar disorder because of the massive mood swings that I had. Thankfully, I don't. Thankfully, I just have this wonderful major depression that I'm dealing with. And, at least that is something that I'm able to come to grips with a little bit more competently, hopefully, going forward than I have been able to so far. Now, these panic attacks would start for me about half an hour after I woke up. They would end for me approximately after dinner, towards the end of the evening. Every day. All the time. For any of you that have seen me in the last year, there are probably a lot of you that are quite shocked. The bottom line is I'm one heck of a good liar, and I'm a heck of a good actor. Most depressive people are. I always had a rule at work, and anybody that's watching this that has worked for me has probably, or worked with me, has probably seen me say this exact thing. When you make the choice to walk through the door of that restaurant, you make the choice to bring your A game and your positive attitude. And I always promise all of my staff that I'm always going to do that. I'm always going to bring that A game, that positive attitude. Or otherwise I'm not going to walk in the restaurant. And I've always told my staff that if they feel that they can't bring it, then to call me and give me time and let me get the shift covered and let you take the day off. That's a pretty rare way to look at things in the restaurant industry, but that is the way that I've always looked at it, and anybody that's worked with me knows that it is. But I didn't need sick days to get over my panic attacks. My panic attacks rendered me completely incapable of working. And on October 27th, I had the mother of all panic attacks. And at the same time, I started feeling that it had been more than a year. This was never going to end. I had had intermittent psychiatric help, but the intermittent part of that help just seemed to kind of swirl me deeper down the drain. And by the time October 27th came around, I felt that I was never going to get out of that drain. I felt that my presence was an absolute hindrance to my wife, that I was a bad influence on my children, and that they'd be better off without me. Which is why I ended up here. Now, I'm very lucky to have some people that were right there and that stopped me from following through on that plan. And because of that, I'm here today with this vlog. So, I promise to get more positive from here on out. I'm going to start talking about how I've coped with it, how I've gotten by it. Hopefully bring you some funny stories, because there's been a heck of a lot of really funny stuff that's happened this year. And I want to talk about treatments, and I want to talk about our healthcare system, and I want to talk about the society that we live in that seems to breed this illness at such phenomenal rates. And I'm going to see you guys next time, and we're going to have a good long chat about that.